So, should we buy or sell Chainlink / the US dollar? First off, read this disclaimer carefully. Then do your good deed of the day by liking and subscribing. So last time I reviewed the stock was on the 17th of October 2021, fighting 200 moving average resistance. Here is the company's website. Securely connect smart contracts with off-chain data and services. Chainlink decentralized Oracle networks provide tamper-proof inputs, outputs, and computations to support advanced smart contracts on any blockchain. Let's jump into the charts. So we have seen some pretty ugly moves in the crypto space. We had a bunch of support that formed and the bears wrecked it. That's bad. However, Chainlink is still at support. Support back here, here, here. So Chainlink is currently at big deal horizontal support. This week's candlestick is nasty, no doubt about it. If we go to the daily data points, I don't like that today, this candlestick, we are seeing some pretty bearish action. But we haven't broken horizontal support yet. We are at support right here and right now. So if you were to buy a Chainlink, you know exactly where to put your stop. It would, approximately be a 5-ish, maybe 5-ish% stop level. I wouldn't go beyond that because we just expect the bulls to do something here if they are out there. If Chainlink were to lose this support level, that would be very bad because the next support we have is way back here at around 435-ish. Yeah, that's a long way down. Yeah, here on the weeklies, we are at a relatively low level. We have a bit of an inverse head and shoulders here on the RSI. Shoulder, head, and shoulder. So that's interesting. Going to the daily data points, you could argue that RSI and the purple 20-day and the green 50-day and also the blue 100-day PPO are at support. So there is a bunch of support here. In this case, I write horizontal support and horizontal support. I give the bulls a 5 on the technicals, but that is completely contingent on support holding. This is a make or break situation. There is tremendous downside if we lose this level. Let's look at the seasonality, and it's bad. To the right, we see that it is very bad into mid-ish December, but from mid-ish December it gets good. To the left, over the last 5 years, November and December are the worst months over the last 6 years. November and December are the #1 worst months for Chainlink. Oh, the bears get -8 on the seasonality. This is really not the seasonality that Chainlink needs at the moment. Let's look at relative performance. There is a 68% positive long-term correlation with the S&P 500, 88% with Bitcoin, minus 58% here with the dollar index, minus 13 with the 10-year yield short-term, 32% positive with S&P 500, 36%, so that is pretty modest here with the Bitcoin short term, that is, 18% positive with the dollar index, and 12% with the 10-year yield. So, what happens with the Bitcoin? The granddaddy is going to have a pretty substantial but not extreme effect on Chainlink. Ah, this is such an ugly candlestick. We made so much progress here. I mean, you can look at this. So for 133 days, we were forming a low. Progress was being made. We were testing the purple 20-week moving average. We closed above the 20-week. Things were looking good. This week, all of that is out the window. This is a very nasty engulfing candlestick. This is hideous. We don't have any support here for Bitcoin. The downside is tremendous. We might be talking about Bitcoin at 12,000 potentially. This is bad. This is really, 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 really bad. On the daily data points, we had a little bit of a bounce here on the 10th of November, but now, today, we are just sort of bleeding a bit. Yeah, let's look around. Yeah, RSI is still very low. On the daily data points, we bounced from RSI support-ish level. Same with the PPOs, but we are already losing momentum. I mean, the bulls are losing momentum. The bears are sort of trying to ramp it up a bit here. When we compare these two, it becomes a bit interesting here because we have an inverse head and shoulders pattern. That is a bullish technical pattern. It could mean that Chainlink will outperform Bitcoin going forward. So let's look a bit at the seasonality for these two. The seasonality is not corroborating the technical pattern. We usually have underperformance from Chainlink into 13th of December. Then we have outperformance. I give the bears -5 on relative performance. The entry signal is horizontal support, but we have -2.7 in favor of the bears. That increases the odds that horizontal support will fail. The big issue is that a very substantial amount of the gains we have seen in the crypto market is related to different exchanges and to basically a bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with mining cryptocurrencies. If we were to lose the significant portions of the gains that are not related to mining itself, all of the exchanges, blah blah blah, then there is very substantial downside because the cryptos are very disconnected from mining. That does not explain this move. So if I were to illustrate it, if this is what we would get with mining alone, but here is where we start to get all of the gains that are a function of exchanges, all kinds of projects, leverage, you name it, tether. Because Bitcoin originally had the opportunity to almost be like an indicator of global computational power, but it became something else over time. So yeah, the situation now is really bad. Just frankly, really, really bad. For Bitcoin, yeah, this is terrible. Let's look at some other interesting. Yeah, let's look at some securities that I have reviewed before. So I'm now going to my list. Let's look at Plug Power. I looked at Plug Power on the 22nd of May of 2022. So let's look at what's happening with Plug Power now. On the topic of horizontal support, yeah, this was like last-ditched horizontal support. We did have a rally this week, and we got ourselves above the red 200-week moving average. So that's interesting. I don't think we are overbought. No, far from it. So yeah, interesting stuff here from Plug Power, from support. And it's still early. Obviously, you would have to look at more data in order to make a decision, but this is interesting from a purely technical perspective. Here is Yeti Holdings being in a very protracted downtrend. Monster week this week, but this is a bit too much of a monster week for my taste. It's very difficult to buy these kinds of moves. It's good to be part of this here before the move, but if we look at here at RSI, this is just yeah, very very overbought. And I looked at Yeti on the 28th of May, and you can look at that video in detail because I really did a deep dive on Yeti then. Next on the list is Fathom. FTHM is the ticker. And I looked at that stock on the 5th of June of 2022. Yeah, keeps going down. It has not made a new low yet. It is interesting that we closed be above this low here from October. We have seen before that when this stock temporarily forms a low, the gains can come big. All of a sudden, you almost get 50%. Obviously, the bears are in control, but we do. This is a bit interesting. This to me looks a bit, well, a lot like a double bottom. We have 2 days now of a rally. So if this is a double bottom, then there certainly could be more left in the rally. Let's look at RSI. Yeah, super low. Yeah, on the daily data points, we are emerging from RSI support. Accumulation distribution is certainly not bullish, but there is some. It seems to be a bit of a cool down in terms of the selling pressure. Next on the list is Pfizer. I looked at Pfizer on the 5th of June as well. The 5th of June, and here again, you keep seeing that Pfizer, it has a thing with resistance levels. Purple 20-week moving average is a pretty clear resistance level. It did test it the second week in a row, so there is some bullish attempts here to break through. When we look here at the daily data points, you could argue that this looks like we are emerging from an inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is bullish. But we do have some pretty solid resistance here from the blue 100-day moving average. Then again, the bulls are testing, test. So we do get rejection from that moving average, but we don't get a breakdown yet. So we do have a bit of a tense situation here for Pfizer. Now let's look at these other indicators. Not overbought or anything on the weeklies. On the dailies, we are pulling back from a bit of a recently high fail level, well, typical fail level for Pfizer. Let's look at Geo Group. I reviewed Geo Group. It's a long time back. I don't have the date here on my notes. Yeah, we have seen a very significant recovery from the stock. From this low here, like that, to the current level, 68%. This was a big dividend stock, but then they cut the dividend. But yeah, it has managed to form a low. But in this case, we have a bit of a advanced rally. Yeah, we are approaching a level on RSI and PPO that is a bit. It makes it difficult to attract more bulls on the dailies. Yeah, I mean, Geo Group is definitively interesting longer term, but I do prefer to buy after a pullback and sell after rallies. So yeah, in terms of Chainlink, the situation is very tense because we are at support, but we have some pretty dark clouds. Bitcoin is just looking at just hideous. The candlestick is very, very, very bad. That doesn't mean that Bitcoin must just collapse. The problem is, if there are buyers sitting on the fence, why didn't they buy and prevent this sell off? Well, because maybe there's not that many sitting on the fence. And if we have few bulls, then it is very difficult to get higher highs and higher lows. That is just the way the market works. So, yeah. Yes.